Hello everybody, we're back. It's 8:30 on the 20th of May. It's a Tuesday. I'm coming in late because I just had a lovely conversation with KF Tiger, and we've got a thing happening on Friday. So nothing happens until it happens, but like I said, I'll be a pleasure to be the guest on a show on Twitch at the same time as our regular stream. I'll be putting the link in the pings. That'll be Friday at 8 p.m. GMT, so the usual start time, and I hope that you guys can make it. Apparently it's a rather large audience, being the official Civet Twitch, and we're going to be talking about video training, which is going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I look forward to doing many interesting things with those guys, and that man in particular. So there it is. So if you're watching live or if you're watching later, don't forget we have a Discord. The link is in the description. You can get it in there and join us. Also, hello. Hang on a sec. There he is in the chat right now. There he is. That's the man. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it myself. So he's with us. Also, hello Full Dive Media. I'm doing great today. Thanks so much. Dragon has paused watching Hijack. Don't you worry, the show's always a cracker. Okay, so I'm sure other people will be filtering in because, like I said, we're starting a little bit late. People probably thought the show wasn't even on. But as always, we do an open door art club here. So let's dive into what we're going to be looking at tonight. So, number one, we're a little bit late on this one. Chroma. It's a fine tune of Flux Schnell, fully Apache 2.0 license. So you can do anything, build on it. Now, as far as I know, haven't managed to find a control net for it yet, haven't managed to find an IP adapter for it yet, but it's pretty cool. It's basically Schnell with the CFG sort of restored, okay? And what I recommend is the Q4 5.4 gig or the Q8 9.4 gig. You can also take the GJUF clip at 5 gig, so that brings the total thing down to just under just over 10 gigabytes if you go with the Q4 and the I think there is actually a Q4 GGUF clip as well, which might take this down But anyway, it's really impressive to see things getting squashed down like this. And as I said, I have given you. This is out of date. Come on, there's two there. There we go. I've put out a basic text to image and a basic image to image workflow based on their official example. Obviously, I've added in a couple of creature comforts like the project file management system that we use, and obviously my interleaved upscaler. Okay, for like a quick 2x, a quick and dirty 2x, using that 2005 tech. Okay, so let's just see what we got, because I got one here. I've been putting these into the Discord. They're obviously in the inside line. If you remember, you obviously know about that. This is like the place that I dump all the things. Oh yeah, there's a little highlight from us doing a VS Code race in the vibe coding section yesterday. Let's take a quick look at that. I'm gonna have to mute me. As you can see, we take the safeties off and let it rip and see which one goes first. What am I doing? I'm being funny with the beat time. So yeah, we were doing a bit of that. We've got some vibe coding coming up later on, but we've got a lot to get through tonight. It's going to be some workflows, because I really do think that this art grid technique that we've managed to break out is actually solid. So everything that we're going to be referring to tonight is the SVG suite. You can find it on my GitHub Mushroom Fleet. And as you can see, we have added V2, V3 and V4. V4 is a little experimental. Some of the features are a little bit strange, but this is an artistic experiment. So V3 basically adds the ability to put a title in, but I think V2 is still the best because it samples the colors in the most faithful way. Okay. Obviously all the other tools are still here, but we've really been focusing on the art grid stuff. I'm going to show you some of the results before we go on, because you know, I want you to know what we're talking about. I know some of you regulars have already seen it, but as I say, a lot of people who are watching live don't. So, and also, I'm going to be honest, you're going to have to do it, guys. No, that's the wrong one. It's that one. So, we're going to do some printing as well, because some of these are really good. I keep forgetting, do you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll have Photoshop, but we won't have Premiere. And close that one back down, I hit the wrong link. But yeah, there's a couple of these images that I want to pull out for print. And I think what I'll do, look at it. Come on, mate. There you go. So, what I plan to do is just pull out a couple of these. Sometimes you look at these, you're like, I bet they'll print so good. So let's see. That one, that one, that one. I would do that one, but it's just going to kill the ink. It's too oversaturated. Let's see. What's that? Ooh. Oh yeah, I switched to start using Sharona. Yeah, these are all solid. Some of these are actually good. That one's pretty good. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna just cheekily drag them in. Okay, and move on for now. Drag and diffusion. I'm just reading Chroma in diffusion pipe. I should put a Sharona training run for Chroma. No, this is the beauty actually. You don't need to retrain your Flux Lauras because you can do model only, and it actually works fine. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're going to go back to Chroma in just a second, guys. I don't mean to mislead you. Okay. But thank you for keeping things on track, guys. So as you can see, we were doing a lot of stuff, and we started doing the art grid. And initially, the art grid was, oh my, there's too many. I can't print these all. Okay, there's only 23, right? I'm terrible. These are amazing, and the reason is because it's locked in to the grid pattern, and it's making impossible architecture that you could never prompt, and sometimes it is too much. because the colorization is random, but we did give you the ability to control, here we go, look, turning the diffusion denoise down a bit to keep the grid and making these really interesting montages that still feature the characters. This is, whenever you see these guys in red coats, that's the trained character for the LoRa that I'm loading. Everything else is an element from that, right? It's really good at creating that kind of thing. Again, impossible architecture, like massive scale fortress walls. You know, it's kind of hard to pull off, but kind of easy to do with this technique. And like I said, I've been really happy to sort of discover this and share it with everybody. The original technique is based on a JavaScript experiment from like 2018, not mine. I just read a blog post. I converted it to Python and then turned it into a custom node. See here, look, we've turned the diffusion down, but we forced the boost, which is the shift. So model shift base and max, and we pushed it up to 1.5, but then turned the denoise down, and so then you end up with even more impossible type architecture. It actually looks quite far away. So anyway, like I said, that one's good. It's a bit jumbled, too jumbled. I kind of like that one. I mean, I like them all, but I'm trying to be a little bit more critical. That one's good. That one's good. That one's definitely a winner. This one, the one guy's got a giant head. That's one drawback, but it does happen. Look at this. It's a bit too much like a mosaic. All right, that's cool. So we'll take those and don't copy them. Just put them in Photoshop. I want to set up a little side project, which we'll come back to as the night goes on. Okay. Hey, Kurt Curtis. If I hadn't said hello to you already, I do apologise. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as I say, this is done with a sheer grid. Nothing else. Text to image space. Well, I guess it's image to image because you put this through with a prompt and then the LoRa is loaded, which styles everything. And then in the prompt, it'll say, soldier guy is standing. And so then you get the guy that you've trained, right? We'll go through all of that, but I just want to show you, the pathway here. So after we tried that, I tried doing Sharona. And as you can see, it worked, but it's kind of, and it does look good, but it's a little bit lost. You see what I mean? She's getting lost in the source, as you might say, okay? And so at the same time, we're refining and training this Sharona model. So I went back to the art grid, and we've already looked at those ones, okay? And then we come back, and just to sort of nail this down, okay? The way this is done is we use the art grid, but then we put our character back over the top. And I think I know why this works. It's turning it into low frequency noise that's averaging out to the same weight. So the attention on the background is even. There's no high frequency noise that stands out amongst this. It's all like geometrically averaged pretty much. The color blobs allow it to steer the early steps of the generation. But then because we've put this character over the top, and it's a trained concept in the LoRa, and we're prompting for it, what ends up happening is the only high frequency information is on this character. It's like an island of high frequency in the image. So then the only thing it's really got to latch onto is this. Obviously the things that emerge in the background will align with whatever the prompt was, but that's why you end up with this sort of, well, these are all of the initials. These go into the image to image at about 0.7 to 0.8. So as you can see, it's literally the character from the original image overlaid with just a mask overlay. That's all it is. You can do RenBG on an image and then use that, okay? Now at the moment we're using a randomized palette because this is the V1 of the art grid, okay? So obviously when we put this through, so let's see, this one is number 21, yeah? So let's just open this. Put her there for a second, and then we'll go to the next step in this, yeah, and we'll go to upscale. So remember 21, oh crap, they're not in order. Good luck. Where is the one that we're looking for then? Okay, the numbers have changed. That's my fault. I talked about this yesterday. I let it get out of sync. So hang on, I'm looking for Crouching Like Muad'Dib. Where is that? Typically it'll be one of the ones that got cancelled, and that's why it's all out of sync. Oh, there's only 874 in here. There's definitely a couple with that pose. Let's just keep... Hang on, let's... Oh, okay, there we go. Probably a different palette, but... Let's see if we can find it. I remember why. It's because I did it in reverse. I'm a silly bugger sometimes, that's how I do it. Sometimes I do it in reverse. So that means it's this one. Which actually... Actually, the palette is closer. Whites and blues everywhere. You ended up with this. And do you know what? I think it actually refined the character a little bit, because if you look at the character here, this character is kind of like super anime, because it's a Mid-Journey output, right? Whereas this character, and it hasn't been face swapped either, this character is more like the model that we're training. I don't know if you can see, it's like a little bit more photorealistic, but not quite. Anyway, so that was that. But the nice thing about this is it gives us the ability to do all of this sort of promo type stuff, which is really easy to do. You just pick a palette and run your normal prompts, and then depending on how much denoise, we can get these fantastical environments. And the detail depth is actually quite stunning. Like I said, I was quite surprised by it. The more abstract it becomes, the harder it does, you know, the alignment gets harder. But I've literally got like hundreds of these. We've looked at these on previous streams to a lesser or greater degree. But I think you can see that if this is like your character and the images are being made up from other elements of that character's model, it's very easy to make this sort of eye-catching material. And obviously you can put like title, say you're promoting a comic or a book or something. This will work with any character Laura. It's not just this model that will do it, you know what I mean? It's like a universal method. And it gives the background an opportunity. Is there a person? What? Let it go. Oh my god, there's like a... I just noticed there's like a dude in the corner. Some editing may be required before you go to print. But yeah, like I said, this is a really nice technique. It offers a different angle than latent injection or noise injection. We've been doing a lot of experiments with that kind of thing. So this is like a vector shape injection type thing, but it's not really injection. Also, like I said, you have full control over what the grids look like. So as you can see in the grids, it's shapes and numbers and symbols. You can filter or select one of or all. Yeah. So there it is. Okay. And like I said, there are so many great images in here. And when they go through anyway, moving on, we start face swapping, because obviously we have a pre-trained face. And this is where it starts to sort of take on a whole new aspect, because now we're making clean key art. This is clean, consistent key art. Yeah, there's a few inconsistencies in the clothing, but it's more or less eliminated now. You know, sometimes the face goes a little bit too hard with the lipstick, or it messes up an eye. Yeah. And this is still quite chaotic because it's an early Laura which is being used. I've got later models get rid of a lot of the junk, but I kind of like the abstract outputs, you know. I kind of like it. I mean, that's epic. It's like supposed to be like a land that time forgot. A neo I forget the name now. Neo Hyborian was the concept. So far in the future that it becomes like barbaric times again, but they're stuck with the wreckage of what once was. Obviously, these people are not canon. And I think it does a really good job of making these sort of... Because obviously you can take the best of these. Just a little bit more background on how they're actually made, though. We're not just putting the layer on and then calling it a day. We actually use a pose as well. So I could probably illustrate that best just by scrolling back on the old inside line, or maybe even the images. I do try to share stuff in here. So as you can see, we've got some demos of advanced techniques you can do with the art grid here. So what we've done here, as you can see, we've got an image with the girl, there's pumpkins there. All right, this is in a watercolor style, by the way, so it's supposed to come out like this. It's not. I would say, if anything, the original was actually kind of over-rendered. It's a nice output, don't get me wrong, but it's a little heavy, you know what I mean? A person wouldn't do inking like that for watercolor. It's a bit too heavy. And so we were looking to try and redraw it, and I thought, if I crop the art grid wrong, what will happen is it'll misalign, and then we can unlock a bunch of different effects using this. So one is obviously turning the hedge into a bunch more pumpkins, because the pumpkins are orange, and so it's likely to make more pumpkins. In a similar way, we have the girl, and she's standing in front of a tower with some bushes like this. By doing the crop wrong, she explodes into a bunch of color shapes. We then put her back on top, okay? And then and this is using chroma, so there's no pose being done here, okay? And it gives it this sketchy look to it when it's finished, which is kind of nice. But like I said, you see what happens. So originally, there's the grass. She explodes. It's infected this area of early generation with a different color. So now we've got rocks, pillar, yeah, because that's the closest thing to what the color would become. So it's kind of like you've smeared the colors she is made of around her, and then you end up with it redrawing it. Like I said, this is all early stuff, and I've never used chroma before as well, guys. So like I said, these are quite experimental, but it does show the concept. And you can see here's a result where we've done it, and the reason that there's orange on the building here and here, and the reason this is on, is because it was exploded and then re-rendered. So it's actually like her body that made those areas the same colors, which I think is like a neat effect if you want to like do accents on architecture in the background that's going to match. You know, she's got a bit of blue jeans here, or a bit of blue shorts. You can see that blue there. It's quite an interesting little technique. And then the same thing here, we've got a glow effect, doing the same thing by offsetting the art grid so that it's not aligned. When we put the character back over the top, it's going to render her there, but then the orange has made this sort of glow effect, which is kind of, I don't know, I thought it was kind of nice. Looking at more like things like this is, look at this terrible generation we got out of chroma, right? This is terrible, not good. Okay, but it's fine, because we can go into the art grid. As you can see, that's what was given in the art grid, right? We push it through and we get that out, and that, even though it's still not perfect, is like light years better than what we had in the first place. So it's definitely doing something with the attention to average out the background and you know, give more attention to the person. And like I said, I've only got a theory on why that is working, but it definitely is working. So here's another example of doing stuff wrong to get cool effects. As you can see, this is the original output from chroma. Not the greatest image in the world, but we don't care. We're going to stretch it. Okay, stretch it. Make the grid from that stretch cropped to square. Apply her back over the top and render it out. That's not a bad image. You see what I mean? So we started with a rejection, which is like not something you'd really want to bother with. You'd just be like, next, okay? We deliberately allowed it to be stretched. We deliberately cropped it back to 1:1. We overlaid her straight back over the top. And I think she's been face swapped as well, as best as it could. And then we render that with image to image and boom. Now, remember, this is a pre-trained LoRa, so we basically resurrected her by using this vector shapes technique. So these are being generated at runtime by the script. So again, here's some more. Here is the image to image. So remember, version 2 of ArtGrid, you can put an image into it. So this is what it looks like in standard mode, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to change the rows and columns. I want to make a tool that will turn width and height into columns. That's something we've got to look at tonight. That's going to be in the vibe coding section, because that's like the final piece of the puzzle, because you can mess this up by getting the rows and columns wrong. Obviously, certain aspect ratios require different rows and columns because they have to be square. Right? So anyway, we're going to look at the next one. We put the girl back over the top, right? And then we render it out. And remember, this is prompted for watercolor style, so I'm looking for that washiness. It's still not perfect, as you can see. Her legs exploded and her hands are terrible, but I think, is this chroma still? Yeah, this is all chroma. So output, it's got some weird stuff going on, you know, like over noise, you know, there's like over detailing in some areas, which is like bit crystallized. You can kind of see a little bit here, you can see a little bit up there, you can see a lot of it over here. You see these like spider legs, like the same color as the rock. It's going through everything. So we do the art grid, we overlay the character, and then we render it back. All of those weird lines that were in the original image are gone. It's starting to look a lot more like watercolor. Okay, so the original artifacts that were there are gone. Looking a lot more brush strokey. If anything, she's not looking very good though, but Flux does a better job of that particular element. So these are some more chroma outputs using the V3 LoRa, which you can download on Civet. I did release this version of the LoRa. Did we face swap her? I do not remember. But this does a pretty good job. This is chroma, remember? So we're literally using a Flux trained LoRa with chroma. So that answers your question there. Dragon, like I said, it can load to a satisfactory amount. Like I can show you the difference. Same seed with just the Sharona prompt. You get something like this out of. It's not bad actually. Look at that, watercolor sky with an ink drawn Sharona. This is actually canon. It's just not official. I'm making this. This is now a canon representation of Sharona. But when you load the actual trained model, it looks a little bit more like this, because this is the Mid-Journey version. So, you know, it makes it look like Mid-Journey, right? But you can see that the LoRa is loading, and it does look like the, I think, V3, which, as I say, was the public version. There's another version of Sharona. See how it's changed, because there's no LoRa or anything going on with this. But this is really good. Watercolor in the Hyborian age. Hell yeah. Actually does look like Conan or something, right? So that's sick. And I'll be honest, I think Chroma's actually really impressive. I mean, check this out. I said I want scuffed in front of the lizard eye using their default prompt. All I changed was the text and the animal lizard. Obviously, I've used my upscaler on this image, but, you know, the model did all of the work there. So, when we go back to Flux results, this one is now coming from the V4 version of the character model, and that's the most recent, most trained, blah, 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 blah. So the only thing I would do is remove people that shouldn't be here, because it's supposed to be like a last woman on Earth type thing, but not really. Just that's the aesthetic. She isn't, but that's the aesthetic. So with the Flux version, we were able to use control net. So that means I wasn't just giving it the woman, I was putting the control net with the pose that matched the overlay to the grid. So that meant that when it did the final render, The only thing I needed to solve, guys, is it kept making giant spherical structures, and that's actually my problem. That's a prompt issue. I was doing the captions. In the captions, it's too common, and he's hung on to that concept. But that's a different discussion for another time. Most of these images are coming out real nice. Oh wait, is that the final model? Yeah, this is the Epoch 9 previews that came out, the Civet. Alright, so it's pretty good out the box. Before this we're using the Epoch 8, so they're still good, they're just not the final model. I'm going back in time here. So like I said, it's not bad. And the difference between the V4 is more vibrant backgrounds and poses. It's got much more ability because it was trained on a bunch of pose stuff. But we do have some demons lurking in the backgrounds. But yeah, we're still doing all of this stuff, right? And I was actually quite surprised at how good it was when you start doing this. You only need like 0.7, 0.8 denoise. Starts making some really interesting, like the detail depth is what gets me. It's like a Coke bottle on a distant roof. But regardless of what the detail is, that's determined by what you trained your model. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So our character is pretty consistent. Sometimes the head is too big. That's a problem that we have. Sometimes she's too tall. You get the occasional problem like that, ghost heads. But apart from that, these are all minor issues. She's pretty consistent, and we trained the next phase, right? But let's get back to this. So we did all of this art grid stuff, right? Did the face swapping, trained the new model, and then we started putting her through the grid. So here's one of the images, right? It's coming out of the grid. There's another one. These are both using the same input. Okay. That would be the same image that we saw a minute ago, standing on one leg, right? So we've got all these different poses we've trained in. This satellite dish was changed. It's gone. Dear. So anyway, like I said, these are all coming from grids, just like I said. So yeah, but they're smaller, and they're, you know, following it a little bit better than before because we keep on like improving the grid. But I've already showed you all of that, so I'm not going to waste your time. And then we start doing more testing with the new LoRa. So this would be like the final. Okay. And then we use these, so obviously I could actually make, like, I've only made I've made 32 out of 100 possibilities, so really I need to make another 100 to have the full set. But I decided to just use the 32 to create the animation, which goes from one step to the other step to the other step to the other step. So we start original, then overlay, then image to image, and then finally the upscale and face swap, or something of that nature. And then, of course, I decided to check out Chroma, and as you can see, it doesn't work with my normal workflow, guys, which is why we released the new workflow, okay? So with that, let's take a look at some Chroma. So my initial images were, oh, let's make it wider, let's change the letters, let's get a different lizard, and I think it actually did a pretty good job. I do recommend Chroma, I think it's great. And so we did a bunch of stuff, no LoRa, add the LoRa, brilliant. It's loading it better than Flux Schnell. It's probably loading it a little bit more faithfully than even Jaguar did. I'll be honest, you know, like Jaguar is still faster than this by a long shot. But I think there is like a faster version of this model. So there it is. And like I said, there are some mistakes though, but this is just bad seed, guys. We're not afraid. Okay, and the face doesn't matter either because we're going to swap that too. And then because of the technique that we've ended up using, so So anyway, let's just show you. So we start doing the grid swapping. Hang on, it's not on thingamajig. Put it around that way. There we go. So we start off with character V4. Things are going well. It's actually coming out super nice, but occasionally it gets that wrong. Remember, we had the skeleton to guide the fingers. Open pose is really good at guiding the fingers to the right spot. So we keep going. I already showed you that one. So it was unpredictable. Okay. So at the moment I'm tweaking things. And if I'm right, I think I did like, I don't know, a couple of them until we get a good one. So I'm tweaking. And then I make a new collection to keep them separate. And then now look at that. That actually looks like something that you might find in print. This is the type of thing I was going for, because once you get that dot matrix on there, it's got the right aesthetic. Okay. I know. Bad seed, guys. It does actually kind of look like better fur as well. It's probably all the furry suits they trained on. Apparently it's an uncensored model as well, but I haven't tested that. Okay. Swap lead, yes. So then we keep going through. We're obviously changing settings. We're getting to this point. We're getting near the end now. So this is starting to look good, like I say. And all the time it's all using the art grid. Like if I use the overlay here, you can see that we have the same thing going on. And early I'm still using the Midjourney model, right? So I'm using V3 to generate this. Because the difference with the Chroma implementation is that I'm not doing my control prompt data set where I pre-made everything. I've just done it all in one, so that you can do text to image with the LoRa, and you just need the prompt list, and then it just converts everything and does it all for you in workflow, all in one. And so these are now making new images. It's not just doing like image to image from the data set. These are all new images that I've never even seen. There's like 67 of them in here. And obviously when we do the up, it's going to conform it. Oh my God. It's going to conform it. Oh no. It's going to conform it. So again, there's always like a hit ratio. Hands and face. There's no face swapping going on here, I don't think. No. Maybe, yeah, towards the end we start face swapping that. Oh, couldn't even face swap that one. She's got 2 feet. Okay. So you get the idea on that one. So yeah, Chroma. So when we dive into the workflows in a second, we can take a look at that. VidGen Companion. Did I put it on here? Yeah, VidGen Companion. So one thing we were looking at was interpolation animations based on the different stages of the animation, right? So let me just grab 1, 2, 3, 4. I bet it won't even do it. Yeah, it won't even do it. Oh, crap. There we go. So it's noised, upscaled, and yeah. So it shows the process. Little title screen, character, and image. So the final image is made with that. The last bit you see. Title card, initial, input, output. Probably should have put another label on it, thinking about it now. It actually will loop as well. Each one of these is a looping animation. But the title card is built from the image used to make the loop. So it's all like an infinite feedback loop. Okay. And like I said, we've got loads of them, right? And the idea is then to load these or put them into one file probably, and then do audio reactive on them at some point in the future with a song. Okay, let's see. Dragon is going to test if it's uncensored. You need to write pumpkins in as the only species of vegetable that grows. What, like a retcon to explain why there's pumpkins everywhere? Let's see what else. And he's saying he's got the Unchained one downloading. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one I linked, I think. Apparently you can get like a different clip. I don't know about that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the animation. So with that explained, let's jump into one of these beautiful workflows. So here we have one, right? And what this workflow does is it uses Chroma unlocked. Yeah, Chroma unlocked. Oh, you can't see it. Chroma unlocked V30 Q8, that's what I've got. I'm using it with standard flux pipeline, but you do have to select Chroma in the clip. I guess there's no clip L then. Okay. Yeah. There's also a T5 tokenizer that I don't touch, and there's a LoRa loader with a model only, which is how we're loading up our Sharona model. And then I'm taking the prompt from RDM Sharona V4 because for some reason I haven't got it in my prompt list. But normally you just use a prompt list into the prompt. Now from here I'm doing aspect size. Okay, so it's text to image, pure text to image at this point. And we use the Chroma workflow to do 26 steps on beta with 4 CFG and EULA at 1 denoise. And that's going to make our original image, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, right? Pretty good. Okay. Face is good. It's nice. And then I do a quick upscale on it anyway, so I've got like an upscaled version of the initial. We're saving all of these. And then we go SVG Art Grid V2 on composition mode. All right. 5 color and block styles all. The palette is going to be taken from the image in composition mode on this node, so it's just going to come out kind of like this. The only thing you really have to worry about is the rows and columns. This is a bit of a weird one I need to address, but you can just figure it out. That's what I did. After that, we piled the output, not the output, the original, not the upscale. The original goes into the art grid and into InspireNet RenBG. Okay, we take the mask and convert it to image, and then we take the output image, put that here, and we're using bilinear fill crop, and we're converting the resulting image to mask. The reason we're doing this is to make sure everything is exactly the same size. So all of these resizes, they're all using the output from the aspect size node. So we're just making sure whatever this is what we made. Whatever this makes is that big. Okay, whatever this made is the same size. Just making sure everything's the same size because he likes his tensors to match, right? After that point, we pile it all into Image Blend V2 with the mask, the layer, and the background, and then that will give us this. Now, the beauty of that is that we can mess around with the alignment of this by changing it to stretch, taking away the inputs, and changing numbers on your own, and that will give you all kinds of different effects as the image is moving around and doesn't quite necessarily perfectly match, and that will lead to all kinds of different sort of artistic effects that you can pull off that way, right? But ultimately, you end up sending this into image to image. Now, it doesn't matter if you're using Flux or Chroma or SDXL or any work with all of them. MC Twig, right on the inside, is doing some more with Ace Step and audio reactivity. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I'll keep an eye on it. I do have my Ace Step workflow still open up over here. And the workflow was fun to make. I want to make some advancements on that one. But anyway, back to this. So we create our image to image, okay? Simple, 7.71 denoise. We then immediately send it into a face swapping tool because the faces, as you saw, they don't always come out this good. The reason this is so good is because we did face swapping on the images that were trained to make the LoRa that made this image. So it's kind of like the face is good because we've already trained it on a perfect identical face in every image, right? So it should be. But then we're going to face swap it anyway, because it does just make it more consistent. And then I built a tiled experimental upscaler, but it was so slow, guys. It was so slow. So again, this isn't your boy. So what I did was I went back to the normal interleaved upscaler, which I know is cheating in a way, but it does upscale the image nicely. Yeah, it's not going to fix the hands like my Flux upscaler did, but it just means that the Flux implementation will have something over this, right? But I do like what they've trained us on. Even my stupid rocks that all look ugly don't look so bad. Okay. And then for sort of just to make life easier for the whole comparison thing, I've basically got a little grid that's being output that just shows, you know, this is what Chroma made, this is the R grid that we used, that's the overlay that went into image to image, and this is the final result. So, all in all, I think it was a pretty good thing. Now, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there, because there are other experimental nodes that I didn't mention. Are they in here? No, they're not in here. I think they are in folder. Where on earth did we put those? Is it just... no. Oh, I must have put them in the wrong category. Nightmare. Hold on. Did he lose it? I think he lost it. So it wouldn't be in a Sharona. Ah, I know where they are. They didn't have a file thing. So they'll be in here somewhere. Okay, that's some of them. So yeah, cheeky little loops, right? These are quite basic. They're not newer ones. Aha, that's a funny one. You've all seen this one before if you've used ComfyUI. So a little example of what I'm talking about. We go from one thing to the other thing. Obviously I've just gone from this image to this image. No other fanciness, right? What are the rest of them? Okay, so there's some more conceptual stuff. That's okay. They are in the video sharing section, so I'll just show you them on here. So this is what I've been showing you already tonight. It's just got a bit of noise applied to it. Let me play that again. And then this one comes from, I think, the V3 or the V4 grid. So it's making a loop. And obviously it's all just checkboxes and parameterized. Here's another version with just a few options changed. I think it's like a Fibonacci with fractals and waves. So, anyway. Hey, Fernicar, welcome to the stream. So glad you could join. So yeah, basically that's the sort of the long and the short. And a lot of people have been working on other things. Thanks everybody for sharing all of your work as well. Like I said, a lot of this stuff gives other people ideas, so keep it up. Alright. Move this out of the way. So then. What? Why is it crashing? What's it crashing? Surely not. No. 960 by 1152, 960 by 1152, they're all the same size. It should be fine. It should be fine. So yeah, the nice thing about this is it's generating a new image and then doing the entire process on the fly. So you don't need to have like pre-made anything, and then that gives the model the ability to, you know, have a little bit more freedom and start generating things that it's learned rather than things that you already gave it examples of, which is nice. I think that the real kicker is going to be doing this with Flux and then allowing ControlNet again to come into play, because at the moment I don't have a chroma controller. So while this is a fun thing to play with, it doesn't have the full tool set. She's actually missing an arm. Maybe it's just, oh wait, there it is. That's fingers. Oh no. That's a very awkward position. Okay, so it's going to end up looking like this. It's a pretty good lineup actually. It's a pretty good lineup. It's got the white frame in there as well. So you know it's good when you zoom out and it looks, you know what I mean? It looks just like it. Yeah, somehow. So I thought I'd do one live just so you can see the process, but it's really simple. You're just converting the background into an evenly distributed selection of color vector shapes. And the palette is chosen from the image. It actually samples each grid to make the palette for each square. That's how it's working. That's how you get the composition. Obviously you add more grids, you get more accuracy. So we've ended up with this. It's tried to fix the hand thing. Look, I know it's got other problems, but again, this is cool. And we're loading a Flux LoRa with chroma. So then you end up with this. Original, it's okay, kind of sketchy hands there, here, and it's made everything more watercolory as well, more watercolor stuff, which is what I wanted. Flux still does a better job, but it's nice to be able to build it out with something else that's Apache 2, you know. And it made amazing images, you know what I mean, like for example, yeah, this is a good example. We'll turn LoRa off and run it without my training. Let's see what we get. It is kind of slow as well, but like I said, you shouldn't complain. Okay. Look at that. What's that? She's gone full Conan. So that's what we get. Pretty cool. And then that looks even better. Awesome. Okay, and now I'll go to the image to image stage, which thankfully is a little bit quicker. Yeah, it's super fluffy, right? I think that's the fine tuning. This is the thing that there's some things about chroma which are really good. The ability to get the hair, like a lot of models can't really do it. Not well. Look at that. Now that is Neo Hyboria. Very cool, very cool. It's like almost tempted to just ditch the LoRa, just go with this. All that work! I'm joking, I'm joking. But yeah, this is actually solid. If you look closely, it is watercolor. It is in the watercolor style. Hey look, it did the face swap. Excellent, excellent. And that is 1920 by 2304. Actually kind of fixed the weapon as well there. This is pretty good, actually. See, because the thing is, remember, my Flux LoRa, even though it is doing what it was trained, it would be better to retrain the model on this. Because at the moment, you know, you're only getting part of the ability. So even though it can load Flux LoRas, it doesn't load them fully. Because you're only loading the model, not the clip. So there is a component there. And I think, like I said, when you look at what it can do on just its own, that's really good. Obviously it won't be consistent because there's no training, but what I'm thinking is just take the same data set and retrain it on Chroma. I bet you'll get it coming out nice in the end, so less errors was what I mean. Because the reason it's making mistakes is because the training doesn't match up with the weights. Which face do you prefer? This face or this face? It's so funny to look at like that because it's like kind of different skin tone, kind of different art style, but it worked. It worked, and like I said, the background came out brilliant. Actually, better than this. This is kind of noisy, and there's lots of mistakes. But when you get it smoothed out, I don't know, man. I think once that goes to print, it's going to look pucker, for lack of a better term. So anyway, let's do another one because I enjoyed that. That was fun. Let's do another one. Just one more. And then we'll look at a different workflow. Because the thing is, we're going to have to rebuild this in Flux anyway. Because I want to give people an option that don't use my control prompt system. Because when you do text to image, you don't really need a pre-made thing. You can just make it all on the fly. You know, it looks complicated, but if I turn the noodles off, it's just make it, art grid it, image to image it, face swap it, upscale it, done. Then you've got your comparison chart, you know what I mean? Oh, interesting. See, it's a different person every time with a slightly different outfit. That's a little bit risky, so I'll have to be careful. Taking the concept of loincloth to a new level. We're already at that point. I mean, that on its own is like a promo poster. If you're working on some kind of, you know, you can exchange this for your character. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to make these cool, and like I said, you can customize this. Oh yeah, just in case you're having a noodle withdrawal. There you go, look at that. That came out real nice. Actually came out a little bit better than the original this time, I think. Definitely the watercolor background is better, and it draws attention to the line art of the main character. So, you know, it's doing exactly what we wanted, you know? So, with my LoRa or without, this is what I mean. It doesn't really matter what it is you're doing. Like, I could probably change this over to a completely different, here. Let's go for something else. Oh, but hang on a minute. Of course we're not loading any LoRa right now. All right. Go for Cthulhu Bishop and see what happens. Just throw something else in. MJ look? Is it really MJ? Yeah, I guess it kind of is. You can see in the background, I guess it kind of is. The end look, though, is not... I mean, the face definitely isn't. I don't like the hands, because the thing is, the hands are solved, so it's sort of like, whoa, what the hell is it going to do with that? Who's going to get Rem BG'd there? Oh, wow. It's going to MBG a lot of stuff. Okay, this is going to be interesting. See what I mean? You never know what you're going to get. Ooh, that is a cool palette. Check that out. That is nice. Super cool. I wonder what the heck it's going to do. Trust the process. There's definitely no one to swap a face with, though, I'll say that. Probably could have disabled the face, but it probably just will say there aren't any. Or one of the priests will look like Sharona. This is not canon. Okay. That's actually kind of cool. Yeah. Okay, color match. Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not happy. Do you know what I mean? Oh, what are you doing? This one failed, saying there's no LAB color space. Anyway. So yeah, like I said, maybe not for that, but it did work. It did work. It did what it was supposed to do. And what it did was it drew the detail attention away from the background and towards the characters. So if you look at these characters, they're kind of all a bit Neanderthal, zombie mode, and there's a lot of noise in like the rocks and stuff. That's attention, you know. If we come here and we see now, oh wow, they've kind of got like one glowing eye. He's looking less Neanderthalish, still a bit zombie-like, but I think the face has been slightly improved. Definitely the mouths have been. There's more detail on this guy's tentacles, you can see that, and it's kind of soft focused the rocks into this smoke instead, right? So again, that's what I'm talking about, like there's no high frequency detail. It kind of like draws attention to and lets it, I think it's doing something with the attention because of what we're doing, right? Because here it's like even, you know, it's like an even amount of detail across everything. But then when you look at this one, it's increased the detail to, you know, what was not masked, and then everything else has just been like smoothed. Basically, all the details are gone, and it's something else. So yeah, I think that's actually a really good result, guys. Let me just. Oh, I didn't get that far. Shame. I've already got a nice comparison there. Right. Well, what I'll do is I'll just take the image, chuck it in image sharing, along with the image to image out. And then, yeah, look at the difference. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. And I don't even have my LoRa loaded. It's crazy. It's like, are there some, you know, spare parts? Yeah, sure, but there were in the first place. Easy to isolate things you don't want. Much harder to just make it more detailed on the subjects. You could argue that this is just a refining pass, because it is, but we're doing something, I think we're doing something unique here with what this is, so I think it's kind of cool, notwithstanding the fact that these often look great on their own. Do we have something else? I wonder if he knows Gundam, because I've got a Gundam. I've got a Gundam prompt list. Do you know what? It's about this time in the stream when I go and make coffee. So, coffee time. And as I go to get the coffee, I think Art Grid Time was pretty cool. We've looked at the Chroma workflows. I'm going to package them up and tie this one up in a bow in a minute. Nice little bow. print. Oh, that's a pretty good Gundam. I'll show you guys in a minute. So I hope you're all having a good week, like I say. It's angry. And image color match. Oh, for some reason it's got transparency. Right. Okay, we can figure that out. Just remove the transparency. Welcome back. We continue as we explore this workflow. So yeah, it looks like I forgot to take away the transparency here, which is interesting. It's ended up with 4 channels. So I guess we'll just do remove alpha. Remove alpha. Yeah, that'll fix it. Put that in there and forget about it. See if that works. But yeah, we actually did the thing. We have our Chroma Gundam, and Chroma Gundam got rendered in the bamboo. It kind of looks a bit weird though. Like everything is soft focus. Look how in focus he is. That's some crazy focus, dude. Obviously I would say hit it with a radial blur and it's going to sort that out. Like basically his feet are freakishly in focus. That's a good example of what I mean. Oh, got a new one. So more of a toy on the table. See, it looks a bit plasticine. I would expect better from the old Flux. Upscaled kind of helps, but it still looks like a very cheap plastic, extremely cheap plastic, like it's the Timu Gundam. Into the art grid he goes. Obviously, art grid Gundam. What do we got? Yeah. You know what? It came out a little bit better. Not amazing, but it did come out a little bit better. Yeah. Do refine it, but that's just, you know, refining will refine. So, knock off cheap Gundam import. Yeah. It kind of looks like other things. Oh, did it still give an error? Hang on. It says here, input must have at least shape of star 3 height width, but got 1 4. So remove alpha did nothing then, I guess, because it still says it's got batch 4, so looks like it doesn't do that. Okay, that's okay. I don't mind. I just won't do color match. It's easy enough. Have to figure out a different way of doing it. I suppose you could just do a color LUT, but that's another thing I've been looking at actually is if you do a color LUT lookup table color correction on the grid as it comes out, you can increase the vibrancy, you know, you can adjust, you can mute with a rule, you know. So I'll just show you that real quick. So LUT, obviously we've done an episode on this. There's a video I've done to show you how to get these. It's quite easy to get. You can make them yourself as well. I wouldn't be surprised if ChatGPT can't just generate LUTs now, and it's something I should look into. But yeah, plug that in like, oh wait, hang on, let's just shift click. There we go, perfect. And so this is going to increase the vibrance D-Log V3, but there are many different styles that do many different things, like Matrix style and Ridley Scott Blade Runner style, right? Let's change the subject here real quick. So let's do a Cyber Society 0 and see what it can do with the prompt and nothing. That's going to be an interesting one. Cyber Society V0, no Laura, no Laura, just the prompt. How good is the prompt? Did we manage to convey the concept using words alone? Find out in about 30 seconds. I think I'll probably load up the actual Laura as well, just for fun, because we've all seen that. I think we can tell. We can judge the quality based off of that. Jaguar does an excellent job with it. So there is a bar. Oh, okay. So first of all, the colours are correct, but it interpreted it as sky. Second, the excessive amount of wires. Check. It doesn't look like my robot guys, but it looks like robot guys. If we were to read the prompt, I'm sure this would be a fair representation of what's written there. Whoa, whoa, the art grid's going a bit. The art grid went a bit crazy on that one. What happened there? Have I changed something? No, I don't think so. No, it's the same. For some reason, the art grid's gone crazy. It's gonna look cool. Oh, is it because I did? Ah, yeah, of course, that's why. Duh. It's because I'm doing this. I forgot what I was even demoing for a second there. So yeah, as you can see, if this isn't something which is going to be really useful to everyone, I don't know what is. Okay? Because, like I said, we just literally went iridescent mode. Okay? So, here we go. Look, before and after. Right? In fact, should we fix some seeds real quick so we can, like, see this effect change? So I'll fix my prompt. It's probably already changed, but I'll fix it. Fix the prompt. Whoops. Just change that as well. Fix the seed. What else needs to be fixed? Ah, yeah, the art grid itself. Fix that. Anything else? Ah, yeah, and then there's... Ah, it's using the same seed. So that's already fixed. Okay, I think that's everything. So let's go again. I think this is making really cool images, guys. I'm just going to put that there for now, so there's something, but obviously that's actually an upscale of the original. I just like to keep copies of everything because you can. They all go into subfolders using the project file path generator. So under Chroma, I have my project name, subfolder for the first upscale, and the file name of Chroma. And I think what we'll do is we'll just change the lookup table just to show, you know, what you can do with that, just that alone. Okay, so it's made a generic samurai thing, but interestingly it got the colors, and you know, the pose is there and the colors is there. I haven't put my model on yet, by the way, but I will do in a minute. Oh damn, look what it did. God damn, it's cool. Looks like some kind of video game loading screen. Yeah, like I said, this comes out nice. 1920 by 2304. It's not bad. Looks a little bit ganny, but remember, the prompt has probably got some weird stuff in it. Alright, so let's see the before and after again. Nice. Look at the difference, guys. Come on. It works. Chroma output. It's good, but it could be better. This makes it better. Are you going to get some artifacts, like weird stuff? Yeah. But it's not bad. Like I said, we can get even better if we do use like Flux Dev and all that. But we're looking at the open source Apache stuff. So let's try the Black Hawk down. And I've got this at strength 1, by the way, on purpose. So it's gonna... I normally use at 0.3, by the way, yeah? So we're deliberately overcooking the lookup table for a stylistic effect. Look at what it did there. Black Hawk down. Obviously, this is way overdone. So you might want to reduce. But it's only going to affect the background, not the character. And again, in case you're just coming in here, this is like a new image-to-image technique that removes high-frequency data from the background, but giving a mosaic of color shapes, which means that there's virtually no attention given to the background, and it makes him focus on the subject, which actually is a nice way of improving the output. So it's nearly finished. Look at that. It's even better. Welcome to the stream, Vascular. Everybody knows you're a member. Don't even play. So there it is. I think, considering this is like Apache 2 and all that, this is solid. I'm actually interested in seeing what would happen if I train my LoRa's on here. So let's just load the Cyber Society V0. It's a model only, so it's like half the training, really. Yeah. Let's go for Cyber Society 0. I want 00. Where's 00? Hold up. Is there a different one with like a lowercase c? Yeah, there is. There we go. 00. That's the full train, not the rapido. Okay. So like I said, I do think Jaguar is faster, but there are some nice qualities to this model. So it's another tool in the toolkit. It's not going to replace Jaguar, which if you're not familiar is a fine-tuner Flux Schnell as well, but from Shuttle AI. Because it's still a 4-step, you know what I mean? It's still a 4-step flux, so you can run it at 8 or 12 and get really good results, and it's still faster than the dev. Lower requirements and everything else. And the Apache 2. Oh, look who it is. It's one of my guys. That's actually pretty damn close, because I actually trained this one on a Midjourney 2 or 3 outputs from a long time ago. I actually have an art book on Amazon with these guys. So that's really quite interesting how that's come out. Let's just now change... Oh, no. Shush. He's still doing stuff. Okay, so that actually does look like my work. So it's at least... come out. This has actually come out really accurate. It's even got the same tag on it and everything. That is not bad. Not bad. So how's it going to come out up here? Look at this. So there's your original. Do you know what? I should put this one in the middle just for show, so you can see what we're doing. Yeah, it drew the character with better details. And then we've controlled the color of the background kind of, yeah, it's really interesting. So, okay, different one, right? I normally use D-Log V3. What about black and white full range? No. Depth of field. How'd you do that? I want to see that one. I've never tried that one. It's at 1.0 as well, so... Okay, depth of field looks like that, does it? Alrighty then. That was quick. Oh yeah, of course, because it's the same seed, so it doesn't actually... Right. Because it's the same seed, it doesn't have to do it again. You can just use the same image, mosaic, and then start from here, which is going to save a bit of time, because we're just working on the same guy. I think it's pretty clear, even at this zoom level, that it's more, you're getting more detail because all the attention is going on this guy in the middle, right? The focus, it's the subject is the focus. It's pretty gnarly. So, as I say, you know, you don't really need this seed to change every time. Doesn't hurt if you do. Obviously I need this seed to change to get a different prompt, but apart from that, well, I mean, I'm gonna unlock it though. So just want to see if we get a different, get something else. Oh, and again. Okay. Yeah, it's a really easy thing to try. Essentially what we're doing is we're passing an image into the art grid and then overlaying a RemBG on top. Which, so you make image, you make art grid from image, you get RemBG mask, and you overlay it over the mosaic. Wait, what? Can you even tell? It's the same but it's the same picture. But if you actually show it, it's not. It's been redone. A little bit clearer, I think. See, I don't know. I can't, because I like the noisiness of this type of design. I like the noisiness. That is a bit over the top, but I like the noisiness, right? Oh my god, it's like a Christmas tree. Do with that then. Oh, very nice, very nice. It's boosted the colours big time. See what I mean? It's like mega boosted. Okay, any minute now we're gonna get the yeah. It's just doing it now. 30 seconds and we'll get the whatever it. I want to know what it interprets from his waist, like his abdomen, because it's so noisy there. There's so much noise here. I wonder what it'll do. Is it going to be a mass of wires? Is it going to smooth it out? Will this break it? Nothing has broken it yet. Someone did ask about photorealism as well, so I'm going to answer that question before we move on. So all in all, it's pretty clean. It hasn't really lost the detail, but it hasn't really gained either. It's still a mass of wires and lights, which is the concept. If you look in the prompt, it'll say an excessive amount of wires and cables. So it is doing what it's told. But I do like these. These are really nice. Okay. So yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to try, and that was photorealism. So let me see if I've got a prompt for photorealism. Super fashion. Yeah, super fashion. We'll do it without the Laura first. See how we go. So this is all part of the Chroma showcase tonight. Last thing I'm going to do is build up the workflow pack and add it to the GitHub, and then put a link on the article that we did that helps people know how to install it. Obviously a lot of the workflows are like advanced, so I tend to only put them on the GitHub or in a dedicated pack that'll end up on Civet. But the basic ones are already in the article, so you can find that on Civet already. Get Chroma, GGF, FP8, BF16, uncensored Schnell, fine tune. And then you can find all the links, Q4, Q8, there's even a T5 XXL encoder in GGF now. And here you have the text to image and the image to image workflows. Alright. So, okay, it made something, guys. Let's see what it does with that. I'm kind of glad I didn't just like destroy my entire channel, because it did say uncensored, and you gotta be careful. There's nothing adult in that prompt set, but you gotta be careful. Anything could happen. So I'm just going to zoom out just to sort of be like, thumbnail. I think it'll be fine now. Yeah, it's fine. Whoa, what? Okay, so it turned from being like a background to being the reflection of a background in a window. What? And she is actually more, do you know what I mean? Look. Character is sharper, way sharper, and it actually accentuated one of the mistakes. There's like a bit of wire around her nose where it didn't know where to stop the little thing, and it's turned that into like some kind of weird jewelry that I've never seen. But yeah, you can see clearly the tattoos, they're much more defined, and the contrast is better. Lips are all like much more like red, so like more, again, more contrast. Skin texture maybe is smoother. This might be lit better. Looking at the reflection, we've got like a building, and here it looks like a rail on a swimming pool. So some interesting differences there. The glasses are slightly better, but it's screwed up making this top brace. It's interesting though, how it just changed to a complete, like it picked up this one little light patch here. And then hang on a minute. So I'll put it onto what I normally put it on and put it to a reasonable level, because I've been like overdoing it big time. We also don't need those. So I'll do one more. Jam Z, how do you get the LoRa's to work with Chroma? Not having any luck. You've got to use the LoRa loader model only, yeah? So most LoRa loaders do both, right? But you need one of these bad boys. LoRa loader model only, because there's two components to loading the LoRa, the model and the clip. The clip is incompatible, but the model is. So you can partially load your LoRa's. I would recommend just retraining it on this base model so you can load it in full, but I don't even know what that looks like. So for now, this is a way you can just get the model portion to load in. Also, I'm using their example workflow reworked. So these are the settings that they're using for their sample custom advanced. 4 CFG, Euler, beta, 26 steps, 1D noise. They also use a T5 tokenizer with a min padding of 1 and a min length of 0 after the clip loader, which is scaled FP8. Okay. And I'm using Chroma Unlock 30 Q8 in Gguff. So this is our image. She has many handbags. We then give her the art grid, which has been boosted by the D-Log V3 at 0.3. So we then get this. Yeah, it's gone to town on her. Look at that. She's like way more detailed. And the background is like been soft focused. Check it out. This is still kind of sharp. It's all sharp. And then this one is blurring into the distance. It's really interesting how this works, guys. Also, look at the ground. The ground has a texture. Yeah? It's like quite a harsh texture. What's happened over here? Smooth concrete now. The shadow is all types of messed up. Let me see what's happening with the shadow. Oh, actually, the shadow's better. Our shadow is better. It's a bit of a nightmare, but I guess it would kind of look like that. Hang on, I'm trying to. No. There's a demon in her shadow, but that's okay. It definitely improved the character. That was all kinds of. I don't even know what that is. Some of it's pretty, yeah, it's still not perfect, but as I say, I think much better. Like I said, here you've just got like a vague net type material, which is cheating. Here at least we get like the back of a human, you know? So, yeah, right through the upscale, it comes out like that. It's not bad apart from the whatever that's supposed to be. I think yeah, and the hands, yeah. So it's the chroma weaknesses. These are the weaknesses I've noticed with chroma. And like I said, you get this here, you get a nice little thing. Throw that in the image sharing. Nice images, Broken Boy. Oh. But yeah, so as you can see, we get our nice little card there showing the effect. Alright. But wait, there's more. It's not just chroma that can do it. Wait a minute, before we move on, let me just make sure that this is saved. So we've got 110. I was thinking I'm going to have to do like a pack, like an art grid pack, which has got all the art grid workflows in it, and like give example workflows for multiple different models, because like I said, it's not just the one or the other. Let's just delete this. So there's my A step audio. So what's this one? Photo shift. Ooh. Oh, I see what I was doing. I think there's actually a quicker way. That's chroma. No. Chroma. No. Chroma. No. Too many tabs, guys. So many tabs. Oh my god, there's more? Is it not closing? They are closing. There was just a ridiculous amount of them. It's my fault. Oh my god. How many of them? Yeah, that's all of them. There we go. It looks like nothing is happening, but there were just so many. Jam Z said, I tried to train a Chroma LoRa using Russell diffusion pipeline, but kept getting a nan loss So you gave up. Did you actually finish the training though? Because sometimes the nan loss is actually a bug because he can't divide by 0 and tell you what the loss is. So sometimes I found that with some training scripts, sometimes the nan loss, not a number loss in the learning, was actually a bug. Did you finish the training or did you just stop it? Because I would have done the same, but like I learned sometimes it's a false negative signal, so you can just ignore it and keep training, and then I judge it on how the model comes out. I mean, if you've got an epoch and it was obviously like not learning, then yeah, fair. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying I've had that bug before and it was lying to me. Not the first time a machine has lied to me. Not the last time. Let me see what we got here. So here we have the ArtGrid showcase loop, which I was showing you earlier. So we get our title card. We get our thing, and then there she is. And this is like, you know, a big old loop, and it's loading several folders all in sync, so everything matches up. Obviously we had to make that in the first place. ArtGrid V3 has the vertical, horizontal, and the text block characters, colors, background. What it does is it reserves just a few squares starting at 1, 1, going either down or right, and there are 8 squares it reserves. Okay, if you don't specify a color, if you leave it empty, it'll just use whatever, the same palette. Okay. Difference between composition and palette. Palette will sample the image, but not copy its layout. Composition will color each square so that it mimics, you know, like the mosaic. It mimics what was under it. And then that goes into generating the next thing. Yeah, just get one epoch out of there, Jam, and see if it even looks like it's learning. I know the earlies are hard to judge, but you should be able to tell that it's learning something by epoch 1. So we've already saved this one and shared it. Get rid of it. Here's another thing that we did. Now this is something which I actually really enjoy. So as you can see, we've put an ArtGrid into the ArtGrid V4. This one is the experimental version. Now I cannot guarantee that any of the features in this one actually work as advertised. The reason is because it's so complicated. I'll release an MD file breaking down exactly what it all does. If I'm being real, I don't even know what this is for. I'm guessing it's for a custom color palette. So you can put in JSON separated 5-color hex code. We already have a mini site. So if you don't know how to make those, you can just generate them at our mini site, scuffedepoch.com/colors. You save the file, put it on GitHub, and then link to it. You know, you just get the raw link from GitHub is the easiest way, and it'll go straight into the node right here. Okay. Right, now this one has block styles all, which is the old way of doing it, but it actually has true false for all of the different types of sort of sign, right? Yeah, symbols. So as you can see here, we've kind of handcrafted which ones we want. Now, some of them are not in all of them. Like this is, like I said, experimental, so it doesn't, you know, where's the text one? Where are the letter? Right, I'll turn letter block off. Okay, so it's just all of the different things. Now we also have pattern complexity, which is like 1, 2, 3. So I'll put it at 5, and it's actually going to fractalize the symbols. So we're going to use this as the input, and and what's going to happen is we're going to use this as the input for all of them. And let me just sort this out real quick. Let's see, letter block off, everything else on. There are other things that are different, I think. So I don't... palette mode, yeah, we're just using palette mode. Yeah, so, are they all different or are they all the same? Hold on. Ah, the seeds are different. Where's the seed? No, no, no. The seeds are all the same. So how have I done this? Oh, yeah, that's right. I was changing the options but keeping the seed the same. Right. Okay, I remember. Let's just add these all back on. I was going to, like... Do you know what? It would be quicker. Let's just copy, clip, space, paste, and just make sure they're all the same. Paste and paste. And then we'll take away the letter block from all of them. Like that. And then we'll say opposite circle, circle, opposite circle, circle, fractal, checkerboard, fractal. I'm just making a simple pattern. It's nothing crazy. Diagonal, quarter, diagonal, quarter. There. That's all we need to do. So test 2 and let it rip. So first image to come out, we get like this. So obviously it's using Fibonacci to do the alignment, and it's also doing adaptive grid with variable cells, which means we can have these sort of differently sized squares, right? We're doing palette sampling, so it takes the palette from the input image. It doesn't matter that it's a grid right now. Unfortunately, well, we've got it on 20 by 20, so actually I may as well address that. So let's have a look at this. See this here? So the image goes in and it's 20 by 20. So this is 2048 by 1152, which is 16 to 9. So if I say 16 to 9, 16 and 9, yeah. Oh yeah, look at what it's done. It's so cool. So I forgot to mention, we're doing 0.3 D-log on every output, and then we're doing a batch image, first and last, first and last, first and last, first and last. We then throw it through Rife 49 with 6 frames. So that's 6, 12, 24 frames, yeah. But then we actually do it at 30. And then we times it by 4 and render it at 60, which doubles the frame rate while also slowing it down by 50%. And then you end up with this nice randomization here. Now, at the moment, it's all controlled by a single seed, which is random. So that means every single time we hit this button, it's going to give us a different doobree, yeah? Obviously the palette's controlled by the image we send into it. So let's go again. And all that's really happening is the symbols are changing from one state to another 4 times. But the seed is actually the same, so it makes it look like a melting pot. Ooh, what's happened here? Uh-oh. He's not happy about something I just did. What did we do? I don't think we did anything. He's just decided I don't work anymore. Let's try him again. Same error? Weird. Size of tensors must match except in dimension 0. Expected 1152 but got 1140. Isn't that funny how it worked just a second? Ah, I know why. It's because... Yep. Okay. So again, this is experimental, as I said when I started talking about this one. And this is partly why it's experimental, guys. For some reason, this one doesn't like not being square. And that's something which I just have to sit down and vibe code to find out why. Which I will. For some reason, I think it might be the math to divide the Fibonacci adaptive stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think it just like, what you want me to... Listen, I'll do all the math to do this for you, but you want me to also do it in 16 to 9 now? So yeah. I think at the moment, ArtGrid V4 is best used in square mode. But the idea is to make these catchy See, I would put this in the middle of the screen with a bunch of other stuff. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't just serve this up like, hey, look at the, you know, this would be part of some kind of graphical overlay, some kind of feature. It wouldn't even be like the whole screen. It would probably be like a quarter or a fifth of the screen, just like a feature as part of a wider graphical, whatever. You know, I'm not trying to be crazy. Okay, so that's what this one was, and just to sort of, you know, underscore that, let's just put something else into it. yeah, let's use that, the screenshot of my videos. Let's see what happens when it does that. Will it eat bricks? No. It just went ahead and took the dominant colors, and yeah, off you go. Cool. And then, like I said, by customizing, you know, which elements are actually being used and stuff like that, it's possible to make a whole host of different effects. And, you know, just interpolating between things like this is kind of like the tip of the iceberg, really. You know, you could put this into a video model for a start, which is what I would like to see. Ooh, have we broken? We've broken our preview system, guys. It doesn't work no more. Sorry. Okay. It's enough of that one. Already released that? Say no. Just say no. Oh look, we got a different one. But actually I think this is just an earlier version of the same... No, yeah, it's that. Yeah. We already released the showcase loop. Wait a minute, I'm not even looking at that. Hang on, what's going on here? Showcase loop. Close it. There's another one. Keep that. Okay, got those two. Right, what's here? Photo shift lines. Right. So this was the original way of doing it, right? We'd have back to Flux, Shuttle Jaguar Q8 with T5 clip, and it's just a Flux setup, right? I've got my Sharona character V3 version at Epoch 9. That's the one that you'll find over on Civet. I've got, let's just make a new thing here. We'll say V2, right? I've got my control prompt, which we're going to eliminate in just a minute, but just to explain, it's already got everything pre-done to save time and make everything quicker, right? So obviously if you've already done it and you're going to use the same images over and over again, there's no point in cooking that every time. So what this does is create a special data set that pairs everything to the prompt. This also means you can do a whitelist, right? So we do image size adjuster because you've got to keep all of the dimensions under control. You can think about this as like a dimensional gate which programs all of the resizes to make sure everything's the same size. Using SVG ArtGrid V2 on composition mode, we've talked about that at length tonight. Goes into SVG scour because it does make an SVG, not an image. We're then using two SVGs vector to raster, right? And we do save the SVG, but I have had this fail sometimes, I don't know why. So I just mute it. If it gives it problems, I just mute it. It's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker. We do image size adjuster again using this image. So the grid, so what's happened is when the grid comes out, I'm then clamping everything to that size. Okay. And then we're taking the image, so yeah, this is the art grid, this is the person, this is the mask, and then this is the pose, because with this version we're sending a pose into Shaka Labs ControlNet Union. Obviously we do our image blend, we do our image blend, and that'll put the person back on top of the grid. That gets encoded. What the hell? Yeah, see, look, it's like, oh, I don't know how to save the file. It's probably some pathing issue. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. I am doing a prompt swap on this one because in one of the old Lauras there was a lot of post-apocalyptic dystopian in the tags, and to be honest, Hyborian Age, Prehistoric, Barbarian were better for these words, so I did a bit of swapping in the engineering section there, but essentially what it is 12 step at 0.7 with a control net pose of 0.7 for the whole generation. And then again, the character that we were working with, let's see, is this still, what? Something has happened. What the heck? Why is it making, look at this. Right. What? Hang on, what? Stop! What? Hold up. What? Let's try that again. What? Okay, now I'm stumped. This happens every stream. Crozer says, always struggle with poses and Laura's on Flux. It takes away from the style. Yeah, that's because Laura was often overtrained, didn't have any knowledge of those poses. What I had to do between version 3 and version 4 was inject poses into new art, which does follow more flexible pose, like I say. And what the hell? Why is it? Okay, we got an issue where it's making a 60 by 44. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Stop. Let's just refresh the page real quick. Something weird. It doesn't do that. It's making a 60 by 44 for some reason. I might just get an image and drag it in there just to be something's happened to that workflow. It's weird. Art grid E9 upscale. Go to the bottom. Put that there. Right now, run. I just want to see it do something, because I've never seen that before, where it just makes one tile. Never seen that. Yeah, it was a bug. Okay. Must be because I haven't restarted my computer for too long. It does happen. What's this? I'm missing comments. I know what you're talking about. That's the Phil Collins speech from American Psycho, but rewritten to be about me and my art grid suite. The legend of Vascular Decametron strikes again. Just look at that node chain. SVG, mask warp, edge detect. Okay, alright, I'm not reading pixelated eggplants, huh? Okay. That's awesome. I appreciate that, dude. That's some funny. So anyway, like I say, we do our art grid, blah, blah, blah. We do our overlay. And remember, this is the good overlay. All right. And then we inject our pose. And then we've got 12 steps of fun. And like I say, I do appreciate the speed of... it's about the same, about 1 minute. Yeah, it's about the same. It's not. See, that's funny, isn't it? You feel like it's faster, but it actually is about the same. Interesting. It just felt slower, but it isn't. It's about the same. It's sort of like just under a minute. Same sort of ballpark. Oh, look, it's the same image. Isn't that good? So it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It's even done it in exactly the same way. We do the face swap. Ooh, that face swap is a bit pixely. I think we need bilinear somewhere. Hang on. Yeah, I think we need bilinear here. It'll be better. See, as always. Uh-oh! I just broke ComfyUI as well. It's still rendering. But it's actually broken. I can't zoom in and out. This is something which has been happening in Comfy a little bit last couple of weeks. I don't know if it's an indicator that my install is fried or I need to update. Probably one of those things though. I guess I'd have to go and get it. Right. back. Yeah, it'll be in there because, of course, yeah. So there we go, image and image. See, the only difference is in the background. Slight difference because it was a different seed, but pretty much the same. Or maybe it was the same seed, but something's different about it. Bottom line, slightly different. Same. So what do I want to do with this workflow? Well, to make it a little bit more accessible, what I'd like to do is get rid of my pre-computed stuff. Okay, now I'm still going to use like a prompt list, right? So if I say Zenkai prompt v5, which is just a sequential, it's got prefix, suffix, no whitelisting or anything like that, but essentially it's just loop forever from a list of prompts, which is in the prompts folder of DJZ nodes. So I'll put it on increment, I'll put it onto one of the Sharonas, because we've got these in here somewhere. We'll go for Sharona v3, which is the current public. Okay, it's not the finished version, but it's the public one. So again, this is the v4, and in fact they're interchangeable. They have the same tag, but it's different prompts. So it's actually quite interesting what happens there. So take my prompt. Now, where's the prompt actually going? Way over there, right? So let's take the prompt and put it into string weights, so we can back off the prompt if we want. I'm going to leave it at 1 for now. We've also got to concatenate, so you want to put something in front of the prompt or behind the prompt or both. That's what that's there for. Prompt swap again. Say you've got your prompt list and it's always going on about post-apocalyptic. Well, we can swap that out. So that's what that's for. Into the clip. Got the control net for the pose that we haven't made yet, but we will have, because what I'm going to do, it's kind of funny, we're going to put a new section like this one, but up front. Yeah. So first thing I need to do is just kind of move some stuff. So, oh boy, this is fun. So look at that. Oh, it's got to be there, does it? That's annoying. Right. So we'll put one thing there. Probably going to end up moving a lot of stuff. Yes. Just going to move it down like that. And then we're going to move. Control net can stay here. Do I need that? No, I don't need the control net first time round. Take that to there. So we're just going to take this section then, pretty much. There we go. Drop that bad boy in there, like something like that. And this is going to be text to image, so we're just going to do that there. We're going to need an empty latent. Okay, we're going to throw him in the latent like that. Conditioning is already hooked up. Okay, and then the image input is going to be, you guessed it, coming in to here and here. Now, there may be more, but that's the start. So text to image, we use text to image. It's looking so complicated. The hell. Then we're gonna over noodle. So we have our empty latent image. Now I can't be bothered with all that math, so I use my. Do you know the first node I ever made was the aspect size node? Just because I got fed up with the math. There's lots of them now, but mine doesn't actually do anything but the math. And it ensures that your longest side is divisible by this number. So if you are looking for a video tool to 32, but to be honest, like I said, this is meant for SD, SDXL Cascade, that's 512, 1024 and 2048. So not only is it calculating your best, but also optimizing it for a 64 grid size, which makes your generations better. Okay, it's the remainder that makes it a bit rough sometimes. So obviously now we've got aspect size control, so the prompt is automatic. Yeah. Do you know it's weird that that is here? Yeah, I see. So we could actually help ourselves out a little bit here, make it look a little bit less rickety. So I'll go put that there, put that there. Something like this. Yeah. A little bit better, whatever. Let's take it down. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we're going to generate an image. So we generate the image this time, and we're going to use the LoRa, the prompt, all that good stuff to make the image. That's then going to get made, as I say, and then we're going to push it into the art grid to make the art grid. Now, where's the image going? This image isn't connected to anything. That's weird. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. We don't use the image output. I'm such an idiot sometimes. It's getting late. So basically we've got the SVG string. In case you didn't know, SVG is an XML string. That's right. And what are LLMs trained on? XML. And this is what basically led to all this sort of research into messing around and manipulating SVGs, generating them and so on. Because ultimately you get a procedural code, right? And it can just be applied with PIL. Okay. Scour is an optimization tool because generated SVGs tend to have a bunch of empty crap. So we remove that with Scour. That's a pip library. Save the raster, and then we're just using the rasterized image from that point. Obviously everything is clamped to the auto SDXL value. So this is like my aspect size tool, but it's for image to image. So it will automatically find the best height and width. Same thing, but for image input. So it'll automatically go from like landscape to portrait and stuff like that, and all the workflow just propagates because you had this set to your resizes. So dynamic, it'll just use whatever so whatever you chose will drive the rest, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, first things first, we don't have a mask. We don't have pose, okay? So obviously we're going to need DW pose. So we'll get the DW pose estimator. So that's going to be that one. We are going to need a longer side. So longer side will drive the resolution for the DW pose. We'll get a reroute to, you know, feed both of those guys. So that deals with the DW pose. We just have to hook that up. And then obviously we want the image and the mask. So you guessed it, it's our old friend Inspire NetRemBG. Now if you're doing a batch, go ahead and put the JIT on. If you're just doing one image, chances are there's no benefit. Well, first generation will be slow, and then it should speed up, but I see the major benefit when you're doing batch work. Now obviously it's going to be the exact same image that's going to be getting fed here, so that's another reason why we have that. And we're going to put the image up there and the mask in. Oh yeah. It's going to convert. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Hang on. My God. Okay. No, other way around. Ironically, we're going to turn our mask into an image to make sure it's the same size, and then turn it back into a mask again. Look, I know it sounds silly, but if one pixel is out, If this changes, it shouldn't. But if anything changes, it will not work. It will be like, ugh, and stop working. So, or it won't line up. So, it's just a little concern. Black bars is there to ensure that your open pose map is in 16:9 if that's what you're using. But like I said, we don't need it because we're generating it. So if we said 16:9 here, it will be. So we don't need to worry about that. I think I'm pretty much there. Let's just see. What have we missed here? We got the pose there. Yeah, we need to actually give this something. So you might think, well, what are we actually using for this? And that's the bit I'm going to just think about real quick. So at the moment, hold up. Really, we need this image before it was made into a grid. Yeah, we need this image, but what size does it need to be? Because right now it's set to the aspect ratio. I know that this thing can do something funky and change the size of the image. And that's okay if everything beyond that point. So what I think I'll do is a little bit strange, but what I'll do is I'll copy the resize, yeah, and I'll use this image, but I'm going to set the size from this one. It shouldn't be far off. And we're going to use bilinear like that. Bit weird layout down there, but that's okay. So yeah, essentially trying to drive everything off of the text to image output. Starting to look a little bit less crazy now. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. So then we've got control net on this section, so give me a bit more space here. That'll do. Yeah. All right, save it. Let's see what problems we got. Well, I don't see a problem here. But, wait a minute, it's not doing anything, is it? Ah, no, have I got like a feedback loop somewhere? Oh, I hate these. There's no error. Oh man, so I've just forgotten to hook something up or something ghastly. Okay. Oh, or it just crashed, you know, one of the two. So I think what I'll do, yeah, super noodles, that's right, barbecue flavor. Okay, so let's just group that, say one, let me just, okay, yeah. Do you want to know why it's screwed? It's really simple. This resize is trying to set the size of this. That's a big no-no because you can't use future assets that haven't been created yet to determine the size of the past. You can't define the future. No, you can't define the past using the future. You have to do it the other way around. So the simple fix is obviously for me to just do that. That's the obvious fix there. Now I've probably done that multiple times, so let's just make sure we haven't done it anywhere else. obvious one is over here. It might be that I didn't need to do it. No, it's okay. It's okay. What about down here? Oh no, these are all fed. These are all fed. Okay. Alright, back to where we were, wherever we were. Save it and run it. And oh, it started and then it stopped. Oh, there we go. Output will be ignored. Input is missing images. So it'd be nice if I get a nice little red thing. Input is missing images. Where's that? Down here. We got another loop somewhere. One to one. Latent goes in there. Width and height, width and height. You got your prompt there. And prompt's going down there. What the hell is this? Hang on a minute. Yeah, what? Hang on a minute. What? I got my shorts twisted. Okay. What? Huh? Hang on. How does that work? Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. What? How can that? Again, we got more time travel. Listen, I know I make cool workflows, but I can't do time travel yet. We haven't figured that one out. It's coming. They'll figure it out. NF-1. It renders the image before you type the prompt in. Come on. So yeah, that's crap, right? That's just crap. So best thing to do here is break that. Oh, and it broke again. Nice. Got some real nasty. I think I might be like pushing up against the limit of how many nodes you can have or something. Or maybe I got too many tabs. Whatever it is. Super fragile. So yeah, we figured out what it was, and it was this thing. So let's just take that off. Now where's that supposed to come from? It's supposed to come from here. There we go. I wonder how many other things like that there are. He looks clean. That's clean. I'm just looking for backlinks, guys. That's what I mean by clean. Still missing something. Failed to validate prompt for output. Required input is missing images. Required input is missing images. Failed to validate prompt for output. Preview image. I mean, it's fine. It's working. What are you talking about? Required input is missing images. Is there an image input missing somewhere? I'm like scouring this workflow for whatever is missed, but could it be down here maybe? Everything's hooked up, so I'm quite confused. probably going to crash again in a minute with all of the moving around I'm doing. But yeah, what I'm trying to do here is make a dynamic version of the workflow which just needs text to image. So you put your LoRa in, you put your prompt list in, and off you go. It should do everything else for you. Okay, so, it just crashed again. Good times. Yeah, the front end. You're raising tickets, are you? Ah, cheers, Dragon. I do appreciate it. You'll get the same thing. Yeah, I think what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to update Comfy and see if it fixes this UI bug. Because if I refresh the page now, it'll cancel the job. So the workaround I've got is you just batch as many images as you want and then just don't touch it until it's finished. If you do, and it's on a batch, when you press refresh, it will cancel the job that you're currently on, but it will continue making the queue. So it's not like unusable, but it's annoying. The other way of using it, of course, is to put it on instant mode and then immediately just refresh. So it'll cancel the one that you're doing and then it will just start running like that. That's how I do it. You did the update and it made it worse? Ah, crap. That's not a good sign. I'm sure they'll fix it. There's no way that people aren't going to be complaining more than we are. You know what I mean? We don't really complain. You know what I mean? We enjoy the tools. We just find a way to make them work. But yeah, it is a bit strange. When you're running a generation, if you zoom in or out, various nodes will disappear and it will lock up. It's a current bug. But this workflow is good to go. Let's call it 390. Yeah, there's been quite a few versions, guys. I'll just give it a new name eventually. But yeah, this one's nice because it's text to image. In fact, I probably didn't even rename it, did I? Oh, nice. That means I can reset it. Text to image. I think we were up to V80 on that one. Ah, wait. Text to image with SVG grid V2. So much information. Yeah, it is photo. Because like I said, this way you get access to many more images which aren't already baked in. Because when you use image to image to do this kind of thing, you're kind of locking yourself to the images that you have in your collection. Now, if you've got thousands of images, not a problem. But if you don't, and you're going off the LoRa memory, which does work, but okay, so let's just get those two, chuck them in the inside line for the old early editions. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. So this would be the text to image version. Now, I can't vouch for this whole disappearing UI, so this is my workaround. Okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? There we go. Save, and I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 16 or 32 in the queue. Change this to like text to image Sharona. Go. What the? Look. It's giving me, what the heck? Failed to validate prompt for output 617. Preview required input is missing. Preview. There are no previews in this workflow, by the way. Required input is missing. Images. Output will be ignored. And then it's doing it anyway, right? So now watch this. Refresh the page. Look at the log. Still cooking. Didn't cancel it. So it's running. That's weird, isn't it? So I set the queue and let it run, and now it's working and it's fine. It's weird. But initially when you set it up, and what the hell, now it says there's only 3 images in the queue? Yeah, it's super scuffed right now, I don't know why. And yeah, again, this is what I wanted to show you. We're doing 1:1 right now. But what's the art grid doing? 1020 by 748. So that means it's going to end up getting cropped weird, which is why I do everything from this point on. But really you want that to match. So it's because of this. If I put this up to 30 by 30, it now matches the aspect ratio that we're using. Yeah? Oh, crap. Do you know what? I can't even show you the difference because, of course, it's like lost its damn mind. Let's just do 4 images. Cancel this image, please. You nutcase. There we go, right. Go. Don't touch. I'll just go to the results folder and forget there's a UI. I treat it like it's headless. Text to image to owner. Hasn't got as far as doing an upscale yet. So there would be an image, there would be another image, both the grids. Overlays. There she is. There she is. Working perfect. The face swapping works, even though it's turning into like modern, but that's okay, it's fine. That particular image is always a bit of an issue. Is that ice? I guess it's ice. And a weird texture on the water there. It might be just the D noise is too low. And this would be very typical of the model, this type of background, this junk. Have I been foiled? No, it's good. We've loaded partially, so that does tell me that I'm running out of memory on 4090 with 64 gigs of RAM. So there's certainly something going on. Dragon says, Johnson, I have a command line thing to let you test to fix your GUI. Are you ready? No, I wouldn't bother typing it in the chat, mate, but definitely share it with me on Discord or everybody in the community over there. I wouldn't bother typing it in the chat here. It's up to you, though. I'm not saying don't. You want to share it? Go away. Go ahead. It's just sometimes it's hard to translate in the chat. You got more space in the Discord. But yeah. Go ahead, mate. You can. I can't say if I'm going to do it or not, but maybe. So there's the first upscale. Got a little house in the background. A lot of crap though. A lot of crap. What model did I? What LoRa have I got loaded here? Carve 4. Ah, yeah. Okay. So the prompts is the prompts of V3. I remember what we're doing. Yeah. It'll still be okay, but the backgrounds are going to suck a bit. Oh, it died. She gone. So okay, it's making a new image. Refresh the page. There we go. So yeah, but like I said, the difference between this way of doing it and that way of doing it was it's text to image. And then it's generating everything else from text to image result. That's the idea. Yeah. So that's what makes this version different from the other versions, is what I mean. Obviously this one's going to be part of the pack as well. That one won't be. This one obviously is only good for use with control prompt, which you do have to invest some time in to get it working, so that's not perfect. We've already got these ones, the sweet art grid, sweet animation, yeah. And then obviously we have a companion, which doesn't do interpolation. Yeah, it doesn't need to. It just does the upscaling and the noise, upscale, noise, glow and stuff, and then it comes out looking a little bit more broadcast aesthetics. Okay. Do you know what? I think we made it. Now, what did I forget to do tonight? We looked at Chroma, but we didn't release a dedicated workflow pack for it yet. I have got them all though. They're all here. So I'll put them in a folder and add them to a Civet workflow pack with a bunch of demos. We got loads of examples now. There will be a dedicated SVG suite pack coming out with just all of the art grid stuff, and it's probably going to support a number of different models, because I know it works with Chroma, it works with Flux and Jaguar. That means it works with colors, which means it probably works with SDXL, and I bet this method just works with I bet it's like one of those things that was like right there under our noses the whole time, we just never even noticed it. So let me just see what we got here. It's going to take forever. Kill it. Just get rid of it. Right, that's it. I'm pulling the ejection cord, ladies and gents. Like I said, it's been fun, but it is 11 o'clock. So thank you very much for joining me on another wild ride through what I've been working on last couple of days. And I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. It'll be a Wednesday stream, so watch the pings. And thanks for watching.